number one concert. And an access pass to tickets are available Tuesday, January 24th for 48 hours only, or while pre-sale tickets last. Fired up?
And water. Captain Newport's busy managing those things, so Wingfield decides we're going to hang John Smith now. So he quickly has a gallows erected and he tells John he's going to be hanged, and John just laughs him off, and John's friends protect him. And Wingfield is outraged that a man as powerful as him is not being listened to. So Newport realizes he needs to do something. So he tells John Smith, we'll figure this out when we get to Virginia, but for now you are confined to below decks. He's actually a prisoner in shackles. And here, this man, who would be so important to the survival of Jamestown, arrives in Virginia as a prisoner in shackles. So why did Captain Newport protect John Smith? It just doesn't make any sense if you think about it. Wingfield's very powerful, he's very important. You see, there was a secret box that was sent along with the journey. And while Captain Newport was in charge during the journey, once they got to Virginia, after a few weeks, Captain Newport would leave, and so they needed a governing body to be in charge when they were in Virginia. So the Virginia Company sent out a sealed box that they were only to open once they arrived in Virginia, and it had the names of 8 men who would be on the governing council of Jamestown. Wingfield is the very first name on the list. No one is surprised. It's followed by gentlemen, and everyone is shocked when they read the last name on the list, Captain John. Maybe Captain Newport knew this, and that's why he protected John Smith. So once they arrived in Virginia, they named it Jamestown, King James. After 2 months, Captain Newport left. He returned back to England, and almost immediately after he left, a sickness spread.
a disaster area that they need extra governmental powers in order to fight it. According to CBS News, officials in LA County Tuesday opposed the motion to declare a state of emergency over the region's homeless crisis. The declaration will expedite support of the material services for people who are unhoused. This report follows after years of allowing the homeless crisis in LA County to grow. They're talking about tens of thousands of homeless people. Almost 100,000 homeless people last time I checked in LA County. And they allowed them to be congregated on Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles, but now to move into the suburbs where they are leaving open needles, where they are threatening public safety, where they are breaking into cars and homes. And all of this is leading people to leave these areas. Much of this is driven, of course, by left-wing policy that suggests that we should not be able to remove people from the streets for trespass or loitering, and they should just leave their garbage on the streets. Because thanks to an ACLU settlement with the police department that's now considered personal property, garbage on a street corner is considered your personal property, so the cops can't move it. LA County has decided a civil rights issue as opposed to an issue of crime, drug use, and mental illness, which is what it largely is. And so now to backfill that, they have to use more government compulsion. The emergency declaration introduced in late December was formally greenlit by the LA County Board of Supervisors in a unanimous vote on Tuesday. It came 1 month after a similar citywide emergency declaration was enacted by new LA Mayor Karen Bass immediately after taking office. Leaders in Long Beach have drafted their own proposals to address homelessness over there. The new proposal from LA County supervisors mainly called for an emergency proclamation that would allow LA County to hire additional staff and roles focused on addressing the area's homeless crisis. LA County's Homeless Initiative, created in 2015, outlined a comprehensive 10-year plan to address homelessness. It is funded to measure each a quarter cent sales tax increase approved by LA County voters in 2017 and generating $355 million annually, which apparently is not. Annual homeless count conducted last February found more than 69,000 people were homeless in the greater LA area. At this point, we should be asking ourselves the question, why is it that every major city in the United States that is run by a Democrat is in a state of emergency over something or other? Why? So, for example, back in December, El Paso declared a state of emergency thanks to migrant problems that led to a massive homelessness crisis on the streets. There was the mayor of El Paso saying just that at the time.
As we see the increase asylum seekers into our community, and we see the temperatures dropping, and you know that Title 42 looks like it's going to be called back on Wednesday. We felt it was proper time today to call the state of emergency.
Okay, that was back in December. That's El Paso. Or you could try San Francisco, which declared in 2022 a state of emergency in the Tenderloin district because people were dying of drug overdoses on the streets.
Maybe 1% will come and mess it up.
Neighborhood where many felt the problems were spinning out of control. So the mayor said it was time to launch an intervention of all the bull that has destroyed our city. How an array neighborhood. So what's changed since then, and what still needs to be done?
Or maybe you'd like to try Chicago on for size. Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, who was widely considered a possible presidential candidate by the left-wingers, he said back in 2021 that Chicago was essentially in a state of emergency over crime.
I am across the state, and particularly the one in Cook County, and with the leaders of our court system. And so I want to make sure that we are coordinating all the resources necessary to bring down crime in the city of Chicago. Look, we are nearly at a state of emergency in our need to address crime.
See, this is how Democrats rule. The way that Democrats govern is they propose a bunch of really, really bad policies, and then states of emergency ensue, requiring them to activate more government resources. This is true on literally every topic. They pursue bad policy that, logically speaking, has bad consequences. And then the bad consequences materialize, and then they say, well, if you just give us more power, maybe we can fix the problem that we created in the first place. It's the same thing on immigration. Joe Biden was down in Mexico doing a meeting with the heads of Mexico and Canada, and he literally said, cross the border and get here in Mexico City. And then we wonder why there's an immigration crisis that he's going to the border to address. Because of you, dude. It's because of your policy.
People go through, have to make it through jungles and a long journey to the to the border, and many are victimized, not only in terms of what they have to pay, but victimized physically in other ways. Trying to make it easier for people to get here, opening up the capacity to get here, but not have them go through that god-awful process.
Oh, it's the god-awful process. That's the problem. If we can facilitate them entering faster, that would definitely be it. There is a reason that the Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador is thanking Joe Biden for literally not building the wall. He literally thanked him in the middle of this press conference for not securing the border. It's amazing.
We have said this, and I repeat it today. I insist on this. You, President Biden, you are the first president of the United States in a very long time that has not built not even 1 meter of wall. And that, we thank you for that, sir.
By the way, it's not even true. Joe Biden shored up a bunch of walls that Trump already had planned. But this is the democratic way of governance. You go, and then, when the results of the governance materialize, you triangulate like just a little bit, and you claim massive new government powers in order to fix the problem that you created in the first place. Plus, you decide that you can get involved in every single aspect of it. We'll get to more on this in just 1 second, but first, we all hope we'll never need life insurance, but simple fact is that we are all going to die. And this means that probably at some point in the future, your family is going to need to make up for lost ground if, God forbid, you are taken too soon. Mortgage payments, childcare, other expenses, they don't just disappear after you die. Life insurance through your workplace might not offer enough protection for your family's needs. It's not going to follow you if you leave your job. Since life insurance typically gets more expensive as you age, now would be the time to buy. It's a smarter way to find and buy the right coverage for you and your family. Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry, and technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from top companies like AIG and a few clicks to find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $17 per month for $500 grand in coverage. And Policy Genius has licensed agents who help you find options that offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid those unnecessary medical exams. You're not incentivized to recommend one insurer over another, so you can trust their guidance. There are no ads. Your personal information is private. I've got life insurance. You should have life insurance as well. It's the responsible thing to do. Head on over to PolicyGenius.com. Get your free life insurance quotes. See how much you could save. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net, and you deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. That's PolicyGenius.com. Alrighty, coming up. Democrats never know how to govern, but that's not going to stop them from trying to run every aspect of your life, all the way down to what kind of stove you have in your kitchen. This is Ben Shapiro Show.
When your business information is missing or inconsistent across the internet, search engines won't find you, and customers won't either. Help ensure customers see you and not your competitors. Boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS.
Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show. Wealth strategist Rob Luna.
If you could solve a problem in this world better than anyone else, you're going to make a lot of money. And that's really what a business's ultimate goal is, whether it's your manufacturing business. It's about solving a problem, making a bigger impact in people's lives than anyone else on scale. I mean, I've been trying to scale my business, but I can't find somebody to conduct these interviews.
The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Securities and advisory services offered through United Planners Financial Services, member FINRA SIPC. Mateo and Associates, Proxy Freedom, and United Planners are not affiliated.
Are you worried about the future and safety of your retirement plan? Well, you're certainly not alone. And as you prepare for retirement, you're facing a bit of a wild ride in the stock market and lots in the world that you have no control over. Plus inflation, higher taxes, just a lot to think about. Not easy. And a magic wand won't keep your retirement secure. At Fitucci and Associates, powered by Proxy, our team can certainly help. Their specialty is simple, helping people develop a solid plan for retirement to help generate predictable income and take a lot of the worry away, which is nice. Check out a free consultation in person at one of our Bay Area offices or a Zoom meeting, or simply over the phone at don'tinvestandforget.com or call 888-PLAN-WISE. That's don'tinvestandforget.com or 888-PLAN-WISE.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage nasal. says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution. 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
All felt left out. And for people who move to this country, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Ben Shapiro Show. So, looks like the federal government might be coming after your gas stove. According to the Washington Post, for years, scientists and health advocates have tried to bring attention to a secret source of air pollution sitting in 40 million homes around the United States, which jumpstarts childhood asthma, increases the risk of respiratory problems, and emits planet-warming gases. It is the gas stove, and now those. On Monday, Richard Trumka Jr., one of the 4 commissioners of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, said in an interview the agency was considering a ban on gas stoves, or at least standard toxic fumes such stoves can spew into America's kitchen. Some cities, including LA, Seattle, and New York, have already moved to ban gas stoves in certain new homes and apartments, and now Kathy Hochul is proposing banning gas hookups for stoves in new buildings in the entire state. So the claim is that gas stoves are burning natural gas, which means when a gas stove is on, it releases not only fine pieces of particulate matter that can invade the lungs, but also nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, and formaldehyde, all of which have been linked to various health risks. Scientists have identified nitrogen dioxide, for example, as contributing to childhood onset of asthma and worsening asthma symptoms. According to one study, children living in a household with gas stoves have a 42% increased likelihood of already having asthma and a 24% increased risk of developing asthma at some point in their lifetime. Last week, scientists from the think tank RMI estimated in a peer-reviewed study that 12.7% of childhood asthmas could be attributed to living in a household with a gas stove. Some scientists have compared the risks of gas stove use to having a smoker in the home. Now, here's the problem. The EPA doesn't have the power to regulate indoor air quality. But Americans are being pushed by the Consumer Product Safety Commission to ban gas stoves. Now, they say that they're not going to do it anytime soon. A spokesperson said in an email, any regulatory action by the Commission will involve a lengthy process. But here is the reality. Okay, the reality is that the science on gas stoves killing your kids of asthma is really shocking. It turns out that you actually have to compare the use of what you are cooking. Typically, if you're talking about what generates smoke, it is the cooking materials you use that generate the smoke based on the hot pan that you are using in order to cook the thing. It doesn't matter if you're using an electric stove and you are frying things and it creates lots of heat, which means lots of smoke. That is going to create particulate matter. Same thing if you're using natural gas. By the way, I've cooked with both of them, and let me just say, natural gas stoves are way better than electric stoves. They work better, the fire works better. Cooking on electric stove sucks. Okay, but this is truly amazing. It's also much more expensive for people in the moment because natural gas is actually super, super cheap. The American Gas Association pushed back against the recent research. They said any effort to ban highly efficient natural gas stoves should raise alarm bells for the 100 million Americans who depend on this essential fuel every single day. And again, many of the reports that are being relied upon here are just not true. So, for example, Menier Christopher wrote in October of 2021 at Energy in Depth, California, about the municipalities in California that are seeking to pass ordinances banning the use of natural gas in homes and businesses. But a report sponsored by the California Restaurant Association shows how many of these studies are really, really flawed. The California Restaurant Association president said, quote, California chefs rely on gas stoves to grill vegetables, sear meats, and create meals of all kinds, inspired by cuisines from all over the world. We are concerned misleading health claims could lead to the loss of flame cooking, which would dramatically impact restaurants and the work of chefs and cooks, all of whom have endured enough during COVID-19. So there are a bunch of shortcuts and biases that have been used in many of these studies. There's one UCLA study, by the way, showing that the supposed damages of natural gas cooking. And they ignored their own findings that indoor air quality is more a function of what is being cooked than the cooking fuel itself. And also, they don't take into account any of the unanticipated consequences of replacing natural gas with. As it turns out, people don't have the money to just install these electric stoves, but the idea is we are going to run your life and we are going to take away your gas stove. And this leads people like Alexander Ocasio-Cortez to tweet out about the severe damage by gas stoves all over the United States. This is one of the great juxtapositions of tweets of all time. from the irrepressibly stupid Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. She tweeted out, did you know that ongoing exposure to nitrogen dioxide from gas stoves is linked to reduced cognitive performance? And then that's a picture of her apartment, which is in fact a gas stove. Maybe it's, okay, I take it back. Maybe the use of gas stoves actually does lower your IQ. That's maybe the only thing that can explain AOC. Now the reality is that the federal government should be getting involved in fewer and fewer areas. But regulators have a really tough time with this thing. And then, when regulators do not get deeply involved in certain areas, they get ripped by the left-wing press. So to his credit, Jerome Powell, the head of the Fed, he says we are not going to become a climate policy maker, which is good. The left is trying to push the into shaping monetary policy based on climate change, which is nutso. Deliberately sinking the American economy in favor of climate change priorities from Greta. And how dare. According to the Wall Street Journal, the Federal Reserve must avoid straying into political issues that aren't directly related to its economic management objectives to protect its ability to bring down inflation without interference from officials, according to Chair Jerome Powell. He said bringing inflation down when it is high can require measures rates to slow the economy. That made it all the more important for the central bank to stick to our knitting and not wander off into addressing issues that aren't directly linked to its mandate to keep inflation low and to support a strong job market. But here's the problem. Many Democrats would love to use the Federal Reserve as a policy maker when it comes to climate change. Now, the problem is that many of the people who make these regulatory policies are idiots, which is why you end up with the federal government now promoting diversity training that says that men can get pregnant. According to the Washington Free Beacon, asking an Asian person for math help is a microaggression. Reverse racism does not exist. Men can get pregnant. These are just a few of the lessons imparted to government workers in diversity trainings and in 2021, according to documents obtained by the Wall Street Journal editorial page. The materials, summarized in fringe ideas, have saturated the federal bureaucracy, from the Departments of Veterans Affairs to NASA and the military. One NASA training states that efforts to be colorblind actually limit us. Another identifies the words, America is a melting pot and don't you want a family, as microaggressions, along with asking an Asian person to help with a math or science problem. The focus on subjective experience extends to the Army, where two separate trainings, one for commanders and another for special staff, feature a vignette about a soldier who wants to discuss his newly confirmed pregnancy. Many of those presentations came after President Joe Biden signed an executive order in June 2021 instructing agencies to beef up their diversity programming. These lessons do not come cheap, by the way. From 2020 to 2021, the CDC alone spent over $300 grand on dozens of diversity trainings, including Let's Talk About Systemic Racism, Unconscious Bias, and Privilege, and Bambi versus Godzilla, dealing with different, diverse, and sometimes difficult people. Solid stuff here from our federal regulators training their workers in left-wing nonsense. And then these are the people who say we don't need any oversight at all. Oversight is really, really bad, but we will oversee every aspect of your lives. And then when we blow it, we'll declare an emergency and say that the only way to fight this particular emergency is for you to give us more power. It's an ever-spiraling series of demands. They exercise power in your life. They fail. The failure causes them to exercise even more power in their life, in your life. They fail. They demand ever more power. Ever, ever, forever. It is an amazing aspect of democratic governance. And this is why some oversight would go a long way. Because when people see regulatory excesses and the overuse of executive branch power in the federal government, maybe they'll start to think twice before handing government that power in the first place. This is the Ben Shapiro Show.
Talk Radio 560 KSFO San Francisco, KSEN San Mateo, a Cumulus media station.
Robert, Fox News. More classified papers related to President Biden are found.
Attorney General Merrick Garland is staying away from talking about this case, at least publicly, as much as he does not want to be in the spotlight. No question, he is in the spotlight once again in an uncomfortable position, this time dealing with his direct boss, the President of the United States. Now, Garland reviewed a preliminary finding from John Losh, the Trump-era he told to look into the case. Now the decision solely rests with Garland about what to do in this case. There are a couple options Merrick Garland can go by: charge Biden, current or former aides, appoint a special